2, 1. Well,
Wow.
I need to celebrate.
I don't have my moccasin. I'm in mixed emotions. I'm happy and at the same time I'm conflicted because there's a lot that's just is happening beyond around this news. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, welcome to the Mother and Son podcast, post game show for the New York Giants. We are here to bring some breaking news that Daniel Jones has been released from the New York Giants. Now, there's a whole lot that's going on, as you can imagine, because it's the New York Giants. There's a lot of drama. There's a lot going on behind the scenes. So let's try to break this down. I'm trying to go chronological order. Let's go. I'm gonna try to go chronological order. Please make sure you like and subscribe before we start this video, because a lot of you guys that watch this video are not subscribers. We're trying to get the family to grow. Please help us out. Please help. So let's get started because there's a lot to go over. For starters, there was I can't even call it a rumor anymore because it's been confirmed. Daniel Jones at first was benched, right? But then he wasn't just benched, and they didn't just put Tommy Devito in the starting quarterback position. They went further, and they put Daniel Jones on the fourth string practice squad as a safety.
That's a weird. I'm just weird.
Is it a way to say screw you without saying it? Is that what that is? And because if here's where I'm getting a little upset about it. You're the people. You guys made the decision to pay Daniel Jones and get rid of Saquon. You guys did it. The fans didn't tell you to do it. We didn't hold a gun to your head. The president didn't make a damn decision. Y'all willingly made this decision and signed this man to a $40 million a year contract. So what was benching him? Not just benching him. That's fine. It's fine that you bench him. You should have did it 5 games ago.
No doubt.
But you put him on the practice squad as the fourth string safety? Y'all don't even know how to be disrespectful correctly. Because what does that mean for him? It just means that he's just on the practice squad as a fourth string safety. So what would any player do? Ask to leave. Especially if you were starting quarterback making $40 million a year. So were they trying to get him to release? Were they just trying to be cowards?
Yep.
And not just fire him, but get him to leave himself. That's cowardice. Because you guys put us in this situation. The front office did this. You guys, Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll. I'm going to stop saying you guys. Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll. You guys did this. Brian Daboll, you're the first criminal. Because you're the one that vouched for this motherfucker to get the contract in the first place. Joe Schoen just agrees with anybody because he listens to his son for advice. So that's why we're in the situation we're in. It's Daboll first, Joe Schoen second. Those two. John Mara should have did something to make sure Saquon didn't leave, and somehow gave a smaller contract to Daniel Jones. Something, because he did not deserve $40 million a year. I don't care if he's the quarterback. Not every quarterback should get paid market value if they don't reach market value talent. So he got paid that though.
Yeah.
So let's move forward. Daniel Jones goes on to the press conference. This was before he was released, ladies and gentlemen. It was actually after the benching. He had a little speech. It was whack. I'm not even going to even try to paraphrase. It was corny. It looked very premeditated, as if he was aware that his time as a New York Giant was done, at least being on TV. I will say one thing. He said that he had a fun time being a Giant. Yeah, I bet you did, getting paid $40 million to be a bum.
Exactly.
I bet you did. I would have fun if I lost every single game and made $40 million doing so. What would I be sad about? So, moving forward, Daniel Jones finishes his little press conference or whatever, and then it gets announced today that about what, an hour and a half ago, 2 hours ago,
it's about little under an hour ago. Like right. It was like around 11:30 Eastern.
Well, there
time.
was hints to it rather. I saw articles that were
right.
alluding
Adam
to
Schefter.
It could happen.
It actually, I was watching First Take, and they had moved on. They had a whole segment about. Let me just back up. They First Take had a whole segment about Daniel Jones because the Giants organization actually called ESPN and complained about L. Duncan's comments
I was
regarding.
getting there.
Yeah, and that because that was an issue. So they spent a great deal of time
Can I
on the
respond to
show
that?
talking. Yeah, go ahead.
L. Duncan is right. I don't
Of
care.
course she was.
I don't care that it was rude or kicking a man while he's down. The guy had 6 seasons to figure it out. Yes, he didn't have the best offensive line. Yes, they were bottom 3 all the time. Yes, he had no receivers aside from Malik Neighbors because Sterling Shepard was nobody without Odell Beckham, respectfully.
Yeah.
We already know about Kenny Galladay. We don't got to talk about him. Darius Slayton was a guy with a chip on his shoulder from the jump, was an undrafted free agent. So he never had a... Wando Robertson was injury prone in the first season. He's starting to really come out now and make a name for himself. But he needs a number one like Malik Neighbors. He can't be by himself. So, and don't even get me started on Evan Ingram being on the Giants.
Yep.
And then the current situation with the Titans that we have right now. So Daniel Jones did not have anyone to throw to. But
No.
did he have anyone to throw to while he was at Duke? I think not. So what was the difference?
Exactly.
The difference is that he was in the NFL and he was in the New York media.
Yeah.
And the difference is that when you're in the NFL, it doesn't matter what you did in college. We want you to perform in the NFL. We don't care that you don't have anybody. You're a quarterback that got drafted at number 6 in the first round. No, we didn't expect you to get drafted there. No, we didn't want you. We didn't want you. We just got
let me just interject here. We have a comment from N Thompson 9111. I don't like the full hate about Daniel. This is a team sport. He picked up bad habits because he couldn't trust anyone, and that's from the chat. Couldn't trust anyone. Well, there's part of that. There was some of that probably, right?
He had 4 different head coaches, or 3,
Yeah.
whatever it was. That's a part of it.
It was about 4 coaches. I feel like we're missing one by saying 4, but I think there was 4 coaches in his tenure. Well, wait a minute. Did he have Tom Coughlin for a little bit?
No, he didn't. No.
Okay.
No, he did
All
not.
right.
Don't even do that. Don't even
All
try
right,
to throw Tom Coughlin in there. Don't do that. Don't do that. Leave my guy alone. He did nothing wrong. But let me comment on that because it's interesting. He says that Daniel Jones, and he's probably not going to like this. Daniel Jones gets exactly what he deserves right now in terms of the hate. And I mean this with respect. Why do I mean this with respect? Because I don't hate him as a person. I hate him as a quarterback. I hate him as a starting quarterback getting paid $40 million a year to be 2-8, to have 24 wins and 44 losses.
Yeah.
And 1 draw out of 69 games on his record as a starting quarterback. 69 games. He's won 24.
Yeah.
He was drafted at 6 in the first round.
Undeserving.
Not drafted in the 6th round.
Yeah.
He was drafted in the 1st. When he should have been drafted anywhere beyond the 4th round. Anywhere. It doesn't matter. Just anywhere beyond the 4th. He was not a first-round draft pick.
No.
People that were gassing him up because Eli Manning and Peyton Manning and his coach were developing him. Whatever, bro. That doesn't translate to the NFL if you're playing at Duke. We saw it. It didn't translate.
Yeah.
He played with no receivers in college. His O-line was average to below average.
Yeah.
And he did okay for a college quarterback. You bring that to the NFL and what happens? A sub 50% win rate, well below 50%. 47 interceptions. He had 8 touchdowns and 7 interceptions this season alone. Almost a 1 touchdown to 1 interception ratio.
Horrible.
Barely over 2,000 passing yards. And we're 10 weeks in.
Yeah.
What are we defending here? Why do we feel bad for Daniel Jones?
Yeah.
What do we?
I don't. Yeah.
I don't see a reason. I don't see a reason to sympathize with him or empathize. Nothing. The guy got $40 million last year, and he played 11 games or something like that. No, he missed 11 games. I'm sorry. He missed 11 games. He got paid $40 million last year. So to not pay him an additional $23 million if he got hurt again, they got rid of him. They benched him so he could not get hurt.
Yeah. So let's add. Yes. So the whole idea that the guy has been injury prone. They were afraid. They were afraid that how can we continue to financially invest in this guy, knowing what we've stupidly put into his contract, Um, and also the pressures from New York media, from the sports media in general, but especially New York media and fans. I mean, it's been a lot. And 24 hours after Daniel Jones, make what everybody says is an embarrassing statement, because no one could figure out, like, why is this guy, he's benched. So who needs to come out and be like, oh, hello, blah, 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 and say anything in the press conference at all relating to being benched? It wasn't because of that. He knew today was the day they were going to come out. And I've been looking for official announcement. I haven't, and like, I don't see like a press conference or anything. I haven't checked in a few minutes, but it was a leak pretty much. I mean, it came out as a leak today. The way they're handling it is, I don't think they really want to address the media. They have been skewered by the media on their decisions on this team, especially
It's deserved.
as they kept standing by, it publicly standing by Daniel Jones. We're going to keep him. We're not moving off of him. Dayball going into these press conferences after games, atrocious performance games. By the way, we're going to stand by him. We're going to stick by him. We're not making any changes. But the narrative started changing a little bit after the last couple of games. It started sounding, especially that last game in Germany, it really did sound differently. I think there may have been a conversation like, if we don't win this game, in this Germany game, this Munich game, we need to start doing something different. Of course, that conversation should have happened weeks before then. It was
Seasons before then.
Seasons. We were long past that. We were long past, well, maybe just one more game. No, look at the stats. The stats say everything. So the fact that the leak, Adam Schefter clearly got some sort of tip, and he confirmed it, because believe it or I believe, as a former journalist myself, that Adam Schefter would not have gone and had it go on live onto ESPN First Take without having it confirmed. So the way they handled the whole thing, I'm sure that we'll get the full details of what deal they made with him. I agree with the Sun that he most likely asked to be let go, because it's to feel that degrading demotion of being told you're fourth string. I wasn't even aware there was a fourth string quarterback. It was his safety. I didn't even understand.
It's not even his. It was safety. It's not even his position. He's fourth string practice squad safety.
And the reason for that, I bet, is that that's the spot that was open.
That's probably the only spot that was open.
Yeah, yeah.
But they still put him there when they didn't have to.
Yeah. Yeah.
They could have had him ride the bench. Look, they got Drew Lock riding the bench for $5 million, and they still didn't put him in the goddamn starting position. You paid him $5 million to come over here. Why is he still on the bench? Just put him in. Put the veteran in.
And they really are not willing to discuss that either. They're not really,
because they're idiots.
Talking about yeah.
Can we talk about something? Because you mentioned stats, and you mentioned something earlier that triggered me, and I wanted to ask you a question. You said Daniel Jones is injury prone. Let's talk about that. Why is Daniel Jones injury prone? Is it because we used him in QB runs too many times? And especially since we don't have Saquon anymore, he's been doing that a lot. How about the last time he had a neck injury, when we've been screaming at him at the screen to stop running forward as a quarterback and to slide. Right. And he just constantly leans head in. The coach, Dayball, could have told him, you should stop doing that. And you should slide if you're going to run. If you're going to use your legs, you got to slide. Why is it that he consistently, over and over again, even after the neck injury and the concussion, he still leans forward and goes head first? Coaching. It's not just Daniel Jones. People are right. It's coaching too. If he is being coached to do a certain thing and not being coached to change the way he's playing, he's going to continue doing the same mistakes, which is why 2 weeks ago, when we had a chance to actually come back into the game and the guy fumbled it, Daniel Jones fumbled it because he held it and he wasn't paying attention. He didn't feel the pressure behind him. So the guy, instead of sacking him, stripped the ball from him and he fumbled it for like the 9 millionth time in his career.
Yep.
And the same mistakes. Brian Daboll said it after that press conference. He makes the same mistakes. He didn't mean to say it that way, but that's what he said.
That's what he said.
Same mistakes.
He was thinking it, and he probably meant to edit himself and forgot to do that.
And he didn't do that. So now, one other thing I wanted to mention, because you mentioned stats. I was reading this article that was talking about Daniel Jones requesting his release. They were talking about how Daniel Jones led the team to the playoffs in 2022. Excuse me. Saquon Barkley led the team to the playoffs. Saquon Barkley had over 1,300 rushing yards, and he had almost as many touchdowns as Daniel Jones did in the air on the ground. So, and that's not even including his receiving touchdowns that he had that year. So, again, with the narrative that Daniel Jones did something that year, that was Saquon Barkley with a bottom 5 offensive line. It wasn't Daniel Jones.
It was not.
Saquon Barkley carried us that year. Saquon Barkley is why the Eagles are doing what they're doing right now. Everyone's talking about the Eagles.
And they acknowledge that. They acknowledge that.
Oh, the Eagles are rubbing it in our faces all the time. And if it's not them, it's the media. Talking about, sorry, New York Giants, here's another play for Saquon Barkley on the Eagles. Shut up! We get it. A lot of us aren't doing okay mentally because of this. Leave us alone. You really think that most of us wanted Saquon to leave? There is a very small delusional portion of the New York Giants fan base that wanted Saquon Barkley to leave. Newsflash, my mom and I aren't a part of that.
No, absolutely
we wanted
not.
Saquon to stay.
Him my nephew.
We could have lost every game this year with Saquon on the team, and I guarantee you I'd still be happier than I am right now.
Absolutely.
I guarantee you. We could be 0-10 right now. We could be 0-10 with Saquon, and I would still be happier than what I am right now. So let's just, all right, Giants fans, process this right now. We got rid of Saquon. We overpaid Daniel Jones, and the mother father isn't here anymore. The season's not over.
Yeah,
this is the worst, most gargantuan, cataclysmic organizational disaster in New York Giants franchise history.
I think it has to be.
There is nothing worse than this.
Anything worse.
Nothing. This is the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
We are at, SpongeBob, we are at rock bottom. That's where we are. We're all the way down there. The only way we're going to get out the damn trenches now is if we somehow resell our soul to the devil again. Because I don't know what's going to happen from here. I don't know what's going to happen from here. We get Shedeur Sanders. So what? What about the offensive line? What about the receivers? What about the running back situation? Because Devin Singletary still ain't it. Get him out of here. I'm about to go off. We need to end this podcast soon because I'm going off. Let's stop. Deep breath.
Deep breath.
All right. I'm sorry. There's a lot going through my head right now. And the fact that Daniel Jones is now gone and we don't have Saquon anymore. So we got rid of the overpaid quarterback that sucks, and we got rid of one of our best players in franchise history. You could throw him up there with Lawrence Taylor. You could throw him up there with Eli Manning. Yes, Saquon Barkley doesn't have any rings, but guess what? That man did magic on the football field.
May have one soon.
And he would have won a ring if we didn't have Daniel Jones. I at least won. We would have got to the damn Super Bowl at least one time if we didn't have Daniel Jones. And we didn't have Dave Gettleman's money issues that carried over. We are still suffering 100%. From Dave Gettleman. We're still suffering from Dave Gettleman. That mark will not go away for probably another 5 years. I feel like money is just going to continue to be an issue, especially after the Daniel Jones fiasco with the money. It's not a bright road ahead of us right now. It seems bright because the main issue is gone, but he's gone, and we don't have Saquon. That's how you really should be looking at it. It's like we could have kept Saquon instead of Daniel Jones, and now we don't have Saquon or Daniel Jones.
No.
How can you even be a Giants fan? It's hard. It's so hard to be a Giants fan right now. I never thought I'd be this battle tested as a sports fan.
Wait, we just got a chat message from Eric Seabrook. LOL. Daniel Jones is on suicide watch with Diddy Brow. We better keep an eye on that boy. He did look troubled trying to man up at the press conference.
Yes, but he always looks like that. He was a deer in headlights his whole career. He was a deer in headlights his entire career. There was never a point where Daniel Jones made me feel that he was confident being in the NFL, ever. He looked like a kid that just wrote something his mom told him to write at that dang press conference.
Again, as a person who does this for a living, publicity, that he was reading a handcrafted for him PR message.
He definitely
public relations message by the New York Giants communications team. No question.
I'm going to say something. God rest my high school coach's soul because he's no longer with us. But he said something that stuck with me for my entire life because I went to a very good academic school in high school. He said, "You guys are the dumbest smart guys I've ever met. If Daniel Jones is so smart as people say he is and that he went to Duke, that is the dumbest smart athlete I've ever seen." Because I've never felt confident in his level of competency and intelligence when he speaks. And I've never felt confident in him as an athlete or
No.
star, if you will, since he's supposed to be the quarterback who is the face of the franchise. But I'm happy knowing that I never have to watch him again. I'm happy I never have to watch him again. I'm still pissed off that Saquon's gone, and he's gone now too. Because what was the point of getting rid of Saquon if we were never going to have him in the future in the first place?
If you told me, of money.
If you told me that not only was Saquon not going to be a Giant anymore, that Daniel Jones was going to get paid $40 million a year, and then in his second year of that contract, asked to be released. If you told me that the day that he was drafted back in 2018, whatever it was, 2019, whatever it was, I wouldn't believe any of that. No. And I would just laugh at your face and just say that you're delusional, that we would even be in a situation like that 6 years later with Daniel Jones. But here we are. We overpaid him, lost our franchise running back, and now our quarterback has to be released because they put him on the dang practice squad as a fourth-string safety. You can't make this up.
It has to be across the league, NFL-wide. That has to be unprecedented. The captain of the team,
in any sport,
benched and then put fourth-string safety on practice team. That has to be unprecedented.
It's never been done before. I guarantee you that's never been done before across any sport. Putting someone in a practice squad on the last possible spot in a different position. What?
I can't. It's pretty bad.
When you could have just been a man and fired him,
right? They didn't. I guess that was again. We talked about disrespect earlier. That was their way of not disrespecting him by firing him, which is total BS because that's worse.
It's a lack of statistical fortitude. They don't have it in them the same way they don't have it in them to admit that they were wrong for overpaying him, and they'll never say that.
No. Here's the thing. I've just involved with writing an article for my business on how to be an exceptional leader, and one of the things I talk about in this article I'm writing is about an exceptional leader is able to admit when they are wrong. They are willing to go to their stakeholder audience, employees, customers, whatever it is, and say, hey, I made this mistake as the leader of your organization. I thought I was right. I was wrong, and I'm going to right the wrong now. Here's what I'm going to do. The Giants front office are incapable of admitting that they are 100% wrong. And we have, other than just watching everything play out ourselves as the various seasons have gone on, they gave us real evidence of this by agreeing to Hard Knocks preseason in 2024.
That was the best evidence.
That was the best evidence. They gave us a front row seat to the stupidity,
tomfoolery, really.
Tomfoolery and the clown show that takes place in the Giants front office when they're talking about making decisions such as draft keeping people, whatever it is, making stupid statements, giving Saquon a chance to see what's out there, like he wasn't worthy of anything else.
You just reminded me.
Yeah.
I saw a short talking about Saquon recently, and this is well into the season right now. This is like last week. They interviewed Saquon, and they asked him how it felt when he left New York versus how he feels now. And he said, I felt betrayed and frustrated because I told them where I wanted to be, and effectively it just felt like a slap in the face.
Right.
And they said, go test the market, and we'll see if you're worth that. And it's like, this is the same situation with Daniel Jones. This is the person that they wanted to make the face of the franchise. They just tarnished him the same way. The New York Giants are a joke.
Right.
That front office They don't know how to run anything.
They need leadership training. And let me just give them a tip. I do some leadership training. Hit me up. I can maybe help you out and help you with your communication skills. But if you want to, if you want to level up, the team certainly could afford to send their front office executives to Harvard Business School. They have a great executive leadership program. They need it. This is bad. What they did to Daniel Jones and how they handled him. And again, not saying he deserves to still be on the team because we all wanted him off. We're happy he's off the team. But the
Yeah,
way they handled it, they were cowards in how they handled
shameful.
it.
It's shameful.
And it's very shameful. And one of the things that, in business, when you talk to a customer who can't really afford your services, they don't have enough money. One of the things I was told, I worked in communications department for an accounting firm about 7 years, two different ones. And one of the things I learned from accountants is that if you want to not tell the customer to buzz off and that they don't have enough money to pay you, you simply provide them a price they can't afford. And then they say, "Oh, we can't afford that." That's what they did with Daniel Jones, but in the most humiliating way. I mean, the idea of making
Embarrassing.
of pushing him down into that position of safety, fourth string.
Practice squad.
Practice squad. That's just worse. That's 100% worse than in business giving a higher price and letting the customers say they can't afford it. It's 10 times worse than that. Because that's not even humiliating. If you can't afford it, you can't afford it. This is
Right.
basically saying you're a schmuck, and we don't want anything to do with you. And if you want to stay, you've got to be a schmuck and not even be on the sidelines anymore. You're gonna, but you got to come to practice. We still want you to come because
Because
when
you're
you're
getting
on
paid
practice
40
team,
mil.
right? You got to go to practice when you're on practice squad. Hello,
Yeah.
practice squad. So you gotta go, and then you gotta face. You used to wear a C on your chest,
You don't got that no more.
and you're no longer a captain, and you gotta face the same dudes that you were supposed to be captain of. Now you're a cat that's sitting, on practice squad now, and on a position that has nothing to do with how the reason why you were captain. It's the worst situation. Nobody should be subjected to that. Not even Daniel Jones, as bad of a player he is.
I
It's
agree.
as the son said earlier, shameful reaction to a situation that has been boiling for several seasons. They should have had a better plan. A better plan for how to handle this. And a lot of this, I'm telling you right now, had a lot to do with how the front office wanted to be viewed in this situation. They were thinking more about, well, what will they think if we outright fire him? What would they think? Okay, so let's bench him. And then, oh, well, okay,
Cowards.
benching. Yeah, it's coward.
Coward.
It's
That's
very
cowardice.
cowardly behavior, and I'm calling for all of them to. I mean, the Maras, they have been running this along with the Tisch family, over 100 seasons, 100 years, and I think it's time for new ownership. It's time for new leadership. You know what I thought about this week? The Raiders have had a rough way to go this season after having a good, fairly good showing
Yeah.
under the leadership of Antonio Pierce, former New York Giant. Wouldn't it be a great thing to give Antonio Pierce an opportunity to coach for the New York Giants? Maybe Dayball's time should be up too. Let's start a campaign for Antonio
I
Pierce to
agree.
make a switch. Think about the energy that would be brought to the team with having a former player like Pierce, who's been, he had a good show. Yeah, and by the way, just like Brian Dable, he came into the Giants with a good showing. He did that first season. Remember, did he
And
get coach
it was
of the
before
year?
yeah, and it was before Daniel Jones got paid. I think
Right.
what really ruined it was, and they talked about this on ESPN. What really ruined it was when they overpaid Daniel Jones and they didn't pay
Mm-hmm.
Saquon, and everyone on that team knows that
Mm-hmm.
Saquon is the nucleus of the
Mm-hmm.
Giants, or at least he
Yeah.
was. And they didn't want to pay the nucleus of the Giants. They wanted to pay the extracurricular, if you will, because
Right.
he wasn't a part of the main. If you're talking about the main stars of the Giants, Daniel Jones was nowhere near there. If you're
Mm-mm.
being realistic,
No.
he was just in the back. He was just there. So when you look at it like that, all of this boils down to horrible management, like my mom was saying. The Maras really went on full autopilot and just let
Mm-hmm.
management, being Joe Shane, dictate, which really wasn't what it really. He wasn't really doing a lot. He was listening to
No,
other people and letting them do what they wanted. There was no actual leadership from Joe Shane. And then
no,
you got Dayball, who I think is more than likely still going to be here next season. They're
most
going to.
likely.
The next season will be his last season. If it's another losing season, he's done because the common denominator has been Daniel Jones for the last 6 seasons across every single coach, including Brian Dayball, his coach of the year season. He's had
Yeah,
Daniel Jones.
yeah,
Let's see what he's like without Daniel Jones there, period. Let's see what the Giants are like without Daniel Jones being there, period. It's
yeah.
probably still going to be miserable because we don't have Saquon and it's just the drama behind it all. And we
Mm-hmm.
know that the athletes are listening to what's happening in the news and everything and what's going on with media and sports. They're listening to all that. Let's see how the Giants play the rest of this season behind DeVito and Drew Lock.
Let's talk about DeVito before we go.
Okay.
Um, so Tommy DeVito, uh, the son and I were actually there for his debut performance, weren't we?
Yeah.
It was the game where
The
Tyrod Taylor.
reigning bowl.
It was raining and cold last season, in 2023 season, and the son and I were in the stands. We were at the game. Tyrod Taylor was playing because Daniel Jones was on IR,
Mm-hmm.
and
Thankfully.
because he, as they say, broke his neck. I mean, it wasn't that bad, but he did. It
Not
was something
thankfully that he
like that.
broke his neck, guys. Just thankfully I
Yeah,
didn't have to see him play.
right. We weren't there for that. It was Tyrod Taylor was starting, and then he got banged up, messed up his ribs, or I forgot what it was, something in the chest area.
Something. He
Uh,
fell. It
yeah,
wasn't a good
and he
fall.
had to get taken out the game. And I looked at the son and I said, "Now Tommy DeVito was coming out." And I remember the son was like, "Wait, what?" And you know, he wasn't bad when he came out.
He
Right? It
wasn't.
was his first NFL game. Sorry, not start. First NFL game that we played.
Not
That
good
was in
weather
the mid.
conditions.
Right. It was not good weather conditions. And did he expect to play? I guess when you're back up,
Probably
you're
not.
not really expecting to play. Unless you're praying for the person, the
To like
starter
get
to get
injured and you
hurt.
get your big break, but I don't think he was doing that. I think he was
No.
just waiting, biding
And then he
time.
was catapulted into infamy because of the performance. And then he felt, then he really kind of embraced it and leaned into the whole Italian thing. And then he started getting local opportunities to do promotions for restaurants, Italian restaurants and products. It became a thing. Did he do well? How many games did he win? Was it around three? Did he win 3 games for
He
us
won
last
more than
season?
Daniel Jones did in a stretch of 6.
Yes, it's true. It's true. He did.
If in that
So
small sample size, so that's all that
yeah,
matters.
yeah, yeah. So that's appreciated. Um, Here's what I'm thinking. Right now, the entire team is now reeling from what just happened.
I would
Okay,
be happy
their
if I was a
captain.
Giant athlete right now.
Okay, but at the
I ain't gonna
same
hold you.
time, the dysfunction
If that would suck, then
and
obviously that would suck.
uncertainty over the last 48 hours is not good for morale.
It's
Okay.
not.
And we've talked about
Me
for the
personally,
last
I'd be
couple
happy.
of episodes, and please go back and watch some of our most recent post game shows. We really started to talk about the fact that Daniel Jones wasn't definitely clearly not a great leader. He wasn't
No,
a guy you can go in the locker room and feel the energy of, you know what, we're going to do this and rah, rah, rah and motivation. He wasn't that guy. He has the personality of a wet noodle. Okay?
did
Really,
you see
he
his
did.
speech? Not to cut you
Yes.
off. Did you see his
Yes.
speech? Not this speech. There was a speech after a win. They gave Daniel Jones the game ball. This was like 3 seasons ago. And they were like, speech, speech. So everyone was just trying to get him to like open up. And all he said was, he went like this with his little goofy smile. All right, guys, good win. Let's get right back to work next week. Everyone was like, he's just corny.
No,
Just corny.
no verbal communication skills,
Corny.
personality of a wet noodle. Now, Tommy DeVito hasn't really had a chance to really showcase that piece of his
No.
leadership skills. We'll see what happens. I think he's going to feel the pressure to do that now that it is clear Daniel Jones isn't coming back. Um, and
This is a
if I were
travesty.
him, I'd be trying to win the job of starter. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think after these last 4 or 5 seasons, I don't think the Giants, I would hope they're not going to make the mistake of saying, okay, let's put our faith in this guy.
We
Okay,
drafting a
now
quarterback. We better draft a quarterback, or
we
we're gonna have some
better
problems.
draft a
We're gonna have
quarterback.
some
We
problems.
better, the son and I have been, we've been saying, we need a top, well, 1, 2, 3. We need one of those spots in the draft. Top 3 pick. That's what we need. And we know we've got some competition with that because there's several other teams that are that look like they're tanking, and we could be competing with.
Well,
For
the Browns
those,
just screwed up that one opportunity because they beat the Steelers yesterday.
yeah. So they're now 3-8. I watched that game.
All we gotta do
They're
is
now
lose
3
again. Come on, Giants, keep losing.
Keep
Don't let me
losing.
down.
Keep losing, Giants. Keep losing.
We need a top 3 draft pick, please. Shador Sanders, give me him.
I think that's not going to happen. Shador Sanders is not going to happen because
Football gods, please.
I don't think that that Dion wants that for his son. I really don't.
No, they were talking about New York market because he'd make a lot of money. They were talking about it.
Well, clearly,
And
okay,
he wants him to be in that type of market.
understood. Okay, they were willing to pay that type of money to a sucky quarterback like Daniel Jones. Will they open their wallet? Will they?
Shador Sanders is better than Daniel Jones right now.
For a brown player. You know what I'm talking about. We haven't had. I don't think we've ever have we. I keep forgetting to look this up. Have we ever had a black quarterback, starting quarterback, captain on the New York Giants? I don't know.
Not Geno. Geno Smith was not a captain, but he started because of that whole fiasco with McAdoo benching Eli. That idiot.
Right, but captain. Well, I'm talking about captain. Yeah, so I don't think that has happened yet. So maybe now is the time.
As a quarterback, no.
Yeah, maybe now's the time they'd be open to that. But we'll see. I mean, Dion calls a lot of shots for his sons. So we'll see about that. But there are other options out there that Cam Ward is also out there.
I want Shador Sanders.
It would be a good look for the market, I agree, and a good look for the team overall, I agree. And a lot of other fans believe that as well, for sure.
It would be a reset for like the 10th time, but it would be a much needed reset. Just bring in a new quarterback, bring in some energy, bring in a Deion Sanders energy type. Bring in that.
Absolutely.
Bring in that type of vibe.
Absolutely.
We could have Deion Sanders do some social media stuff. I don't care. It would be great.
Yeah.
Prime, his son on the roster. What? That'd be great.
And keep in mind, historically, Deion gets involved from a coaching perspective, even though he said he doesn't want to coach in the NFL because of all the drama.
He's lying.
To it.
He's going to.
Deion has gotten involved in all of his son's teams. When he sees things go wrong with the team, he steps in and be like, let me coach. He's done it since they were kids.
I want him. He's doing things for Boulder right now, Colorado. So I would want him on the Giants as a coach. Mm-hmm. Our secondary is trash.
Yeah.
Atrocious.
Yeah.
It's not in a good spot.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have Xavier McKinney. We don't have Julian Love covering for literally the lack of coverage that we had. It looks so bad. Banks can't cover anything. Like he just can't.
The future is even more up in the air, but the future actually is more promising now that we don't have to worry about whether or not they're going to start Daniel Jones, get him out there. They can't. He's done. He's now riding the sofa with millions, probably $25-30 million of payout money for him to walk away.
He better invest in stocks because he is not getting another shot in the NFL unless
I can't imagine
L. Duncan was accurate and he'll be the backup for Brock Purdy. But I don't think any team.
Oh
really...
my God! Do you think that the Niners would be as stupid and risky to do that?
I mean, they wouldn't have to pay him. They wouldn't pay him that contract. Whatever he gets is that's it. That contract's done.
Right. So
whatever else
basically, any job that came to him, if he wanted to work, he'd have to take it because if they said, "We'll give you $500,000 to sit on our third string," he would have to be like, yes, because there's no contract. There's nobody has to buy out a contract.
No one has to buy that contract anymore.
Right. He's done.
He has to be released.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
and that's probably in the contract. It probably was in the contract. If you be asked to be released, you don't get X whatever. So that's why they put him in a corner. They forced his hand.
An exit clause, if you will.
Cowards.
Some sort of cowards.
Wanted to 100%. Get out of a financial mistake that they caused. Idiots.
It's It's one for the history books for sure. For
Oh
sure,
yeah,
it's not a good
nothing
one.
will top this. I promise you, we will look back on this. I will be 69 years old. I don't know why I picked that number. Probably a generational thing. I'll be 69 years old and I'll look back and I'm going to remember this as the worst franchise decision ever. And I don't think anything will come close to this
No,
40 years from now, 40, 30 years
no.
from now. Nothing. I don't
Mm-mm,
think anything will come close to this at all. Nothing. It's
mm-mm.
I can't even make up a scenario that's worse than this. I can't. It doesn't get worse than this. This is legit
No,
rock bottom. So,
absolutely.
but we just wanted to come on here and reflect and just really vent a little bit because there definitely was some venting.
Yeah.
But we wanted to just talk to you guys and let you keep you guys up to date if you weren't really paying attention. Because look, my mom told me that this happened. I didn't even find this myself. She called me and I thought I was dreaming. I actually pinched myself. I was like, what? Daniel Jones is gone? I really was. You really made me think that I was dreaming because my workday was going too smooth. I was getting all my work done. I'm chilling till 2 o'clock. I have an hour still of the break, and then I have one more meeting and I'm done. Made me think that I was dreaming. I was like, this is going too smooth.
How about how about I was in the middle of editing another short of stats of you saying his stats for YouTube in the middle, and I look up and they're like breaking news, and I was like, wait, what? And I stopped what I was doing, and I was like, okay, I don't need to do that. We need to go live. So
That's funny.
that's the moment. Because
That's
I saw
wild.
that the conversation was still going on, but yeah, the conversation is going to be going on for the next few days. We've got
Oh
we'll be
yeah,
back for the we'll have our post game show, of course, on Sunday. The Giants play the Buccaneers, and we'll be doing our post game show, of course, to see what how Tommy DeVito does out there uh, as a starter. Once again, he might be a little cold, but we'll see what
better than what
happens.
Daniel Jones has shown us. I would hope.
Well, that's a given. That's a given.
It's not
We
hard to do. The
and I
brother
want to
had barely
thank
50 yards in the first quarter every game.
exactly. I want to thank everybody who joined us today. Whether you were working or having a nice day off, thank you for joining, and definitely thank you to everybody who subscribed today. We got a few more subscribers, so thank you for that.
Thank you
We
so much, guys.
appreciate you, and you will benefit greatly from our content. Again, the son and I will be live after the Buccaneers game on Sunday, which is week 12. Can you believe it? We are now in week 12 uh, of this 2024 season. So we'll like, subscribe, and
Please.
chat in the comments of this video. And if you couldn't get to us live during this stream, definitely get to us in the comments. We will respond to you. We always do. We see the
Yes.
comments when they come in. The son and I get in there and we respond. So please feel free and share your uh, Giants, get your Giants therapy from us. Okay.
Hmm.
Last comment from Eric's. No, no, and talk about it, sister. Oh, Eric Seabrook was like, talk about it, sister. That's
Thank
funny. Anyway, thank you, Eric Seabrook and N Thompson
you for stopping by, Eric.
9111 for joining. Thank you for stopping by in the chat. We appreciate you. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and we will see you next time on the Family Bonding, the first mother and son post game show for the New York Giants. Take
Take
care,
care,
everybody.
everyone.
We are done.
All right. I need to
32
make myself
views.
some lunch.
Okay, yeah, me too. I haven't eaten.